fans, we are joining you today to talk an Impact Plus. What would you call this? Like an event?
It's one of their exclusive events. They have those exclusively for Impact Plus. Um, Homecoming 2021. I only saw one other one. It was in 2019 for Impact Wrestling.
Did they do
Yeah,
a similar setup to this that they did in that first Homecoming? Was it like a mixed tag tournament?
I should have looked. I did not, my friend. I did not check that out. But
Because
I like.
going into this event, like I haven't kept up with Impact, sadly, much since Slammiversary. And I didn't realize it was a mixed tag event coming in. Once I realized what was going on, I'm like, oh, that's a cool idea. But
They did not, by the way. 2019
okay.
was a separate event. Yeah, it was interesting. It's almost similar. I don't know if you've been keeping up with NWA recently either, but they're doing something called the Championship Series in between while they have right before they have their two big events coming in April. And so it's like these team concepts where I think Nick Aldis and somebody I forget, maybe Terrence Terrell, are like they have a team, right? And then Austin Idol and somebody has a team, and they all have teams, and they all have like singles matches, and you're trying to earn points. And it's just like it's a little bit a confusing concept, I think, but at the same time, it's like they're trying to do different things, like you know what I mean, to like keep the show going for like besides your regular storylines. And I kind of like respect it, I guess, but also at the same time, it's like I don't know if all these are hits, you know.
Yeah, it's good that they're doing something. I haven't been keeping up with NWA over the past month. I do got to catch up going into that women's pay-per-view and then the anniversary show. NWA, they do a lot. They seem to do a lot of concepts to keep things going. Like if they don't have a show, they'll have
Right.
like a review show or something. And I always seem to tune in on the weeks when it's that other show. Like the last time I tuned in, it was like some review show, and I'm like, come on, man, I'm here for the wrestling. So I was like,
Power Surge. Power Surge,
yeah,
right?
that's what it
It was
was.
like a half hour, 40 minutes. I think you get one match, and then it was like, yeah, tons of look back at different segments. I was going to say, too, ironically, since we're talking Impact, I would say the thing that's got me most excited for the NWA pay-per-view, at least the women's pay-per-view coming up, was Mickie James on Impact when she was doing her angle with Purrazzo and wanted getting there, and the confrontation they had on the pay-per-view, and in the following week's TV episode, they had a confrontation too, where Gail Kim got involved as well, where Purrazzo agreed to do it, by the way. But like that's actually what got me most excited about that NWA Women's pay-per-view was that.
Yeah, you do need female talent for that, and seeing Deonna Purrazzo come in, that is a huge talent, and I want to see who she can get matched up with in that. But we watched Homecoming from over the weekend. It crept up on me. I think I found out about it the day of, maybe the day after, and I'm like, oh, I'll have to go back and watch that. And without getting into the actual details of the event, what were your thoughts of this event to start off with?
Again, I mean, it's not something. It wasn't a can't miss show. You know what I mean? At the same time, I will say this again, bringing this back to Deonna Purrazzo of all people. Like that was the big story coming out of it. Was her and I'm going to butcher his
Matthew
name.
Raywalt.
Raywalt, thank you. The Drama King, formerly known as Aiden English, as part of the Vaudevillains, and also his time with Rusev in WWE as his manager and Rusev Day, that whole shtick. But I thought the Drama King and Purrazzo, the Virtuosa, I thought what a great fit. They end up winning this mixed tag team event, and it was great. I liked the little crown, and I thought I kind of hope to see more of them together. I think like they could be a good fit together, and I thought that was the main thing about this event. Like it was to showcase them as a potential unit and team. And boy, I'll tell you what, for people that who left WWE and went to AEW, Purrazzo, who left WWE and went to Impact, like she's done so well at just reinventing herself. And maybe it's not even reinventing, it's maybe Impact just putting the spotlight on her. But wow, I'm so impressed with her, and I definitely hope that either she gets to AEW at some point or gets a run in WWE again that she deserves, because she's someone that deserves a national spotlight. Her character, I know she's said things. She's like her mic work is the thing she needs to continue to work on the most. But to me, she's getting there. She's getting there. Her character is great, and her in ring, her persona, it's all perfect for her.
Yeah, and I mean, we already talked about the ending to this whole thing, but let's start at the beginning. We started off with Hernandez and Alicia Edwards joined the ring by Johnny Swinger versus Deonna Purrazzo and what was billed as a mystery opponent who was unveiled to be Matthew Rehwoldt. And at first, you know, we knew the Drama King was coming, so that wasn't a surprise, but I was kind of like, what is he going to bring? How is this going to go? His opening promo, I thought, was a good debut. It was, I'd say, a decent opener. Hernandez and Alicia Edwards felt like an odd team. Like, if you had Eddie Edwards and his wife, this tournament, I don't know, it might have fit together more because you had like Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green together who will wrestle in the next match. You have Jordynne Grace and Petey Williams who have had this association. Alicia Edwards and Hernandez might have had an association, but to me it just seemed like an odd team.
Their association was through Swinger's Palace.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why they came out with Johnny Swinger. But yeah, they look like an odd Misfit Toys connection. Like they didn't really go together. And to me, it was telling, right? Like there was never really doubt in the outcome of this. Like I was not expecting Alicia Edwards and Hernandez to go over in this. This was to showcase, you know, Purrazzo and the Drama King and see how they were going to fit as a team. And I think right away I didn't know Purrazzo and him were going to win, but I knew like, okay, this is going to be the two going in the finals.
Yeah, I saw them going to the finals. Obviously, you're going to put them up against teams that'll lose, but this just seemed too obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after this match, Striker and D'Lo, they kind of broke down the night. They let us know we were going to see Josh Alexander versus Black Taurus for the X Division Championship. And obviously, Eddie Edwards versus W. Morrissey. The next match, Jordynne Grace and Petey Williams versus Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green. Now, going into this tournament, I don't know who you thought would win, but for me, I thought this was Cardona and Green all day. So I thought Steiner entrance was cool. It plays on Jordynne Grace's nickname. Obviously, Petey Williams has that association with Scott Steiner. I thought it was a fun match, even though the outcome seemed obvious. Jordynne Grace, amazing in the ring. Same with Petey Williams.
Yeah.
There was a post-match attack by Steve Maclin, who he's from the WWE too, right?
He was part of the Forgotten Sons gimmick.
Okay, that's why I don't know who he is. Forgot him already.
Yeah, we forgot you. I think that was a chant at the old NXT days when they were just doing the tapings, you know, at the.
When you got shitty booking because you had such a powerful team, but you just put them in this middle forgotten area that, they're going to get something like that. Unfortunate name for that situation.
Yeah, he's actually, ironically, this keeps segueing, but I believe he's actually the real life boyfriend, though, of Deonna Purrazzo. But they're not putting them together. I would agree. Much like the first match, I kind of knew who was going to win here, but I also thought that Petey and Grace they went together, and it left the outcome a little more in doubt. And they all put together an entertaining match. There were moments on this where you're like, "Hey," you know, but nope. At the end, Cardona and Green, who should have went over, did go over. I actually would have liked to seen them versus the Drama King and the Virtuoso in the finals. That, as we'll talk, did not play out that way, but I thought that would have been a better finals.
I was going to say that is one of my notes in the later matches.
Oh, okay. So we're on the same page. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
So following this was a W. Morrissey promo. I would say probably the best promo I think I've ever heard him cut, if not the best, close to the best. And it set the stage for a main event that I really didn't care about.
Yeah, no, they're trying to push him, and I mean, now we got fans back, and to me, it's just showing how he's not really connecting for whatever reason. I don't know why. He's big, he's strong. I think he needs, like, I watched him in SWE Fury a few times with Melina, and the presentation's a little better over there. I think he needs that. I think he needs a mouthpiece or a good-looking manager or somebody to like catch your eye. There needs to be something else with him. I mean, if you look at his most success, it was with Enzo. It was with Enzo doing the majority of the talking, and he had a few lines. He's a great big guy. He's got a good look, but for whatever reason, I think he just needs that little something extra that he hasn't had yet.
Yeah, to me, he's like a piece of cooked chicken. It's good on its own, but it's missing that flavoring to make it complete. Like, he's getting better. He's doing better than I thought I'd care about him in his post WWE career. But
where are the mashed potatoes? Give me my mashed potatoes and my gravy. Damn it.
So following this promo, we had Tommy Dreamer and Rachel Ellering versus Brian Myers and a mystery opponent.
I forgot about this.
Now, Sam Beal, Brian's assistant, who I haven't kept up with, I just had to look that name up to find out who it was, brings out Missy Hyatt. And
classic.
Yeah, I didn't expect it. We got more of a match than I thought out of this. But this is another one where you're like, God, I wonder who's going to win this.
Right. When Misty comes out and says, I'm not a wrestler, you're like, okay, so this is interesting.
She's not dressed for wrestling.
Not even dressed for wrestling. You knew what was going to happen. But it was an interesting throwback seeing Missy Hyatt on there. It was something different.
Yeah, she looks all right for her age. I mean, definitely had a few things done.
You're a lovely lady, Missy. We'll leave it at that. I don't know what my man's talking about. Anyway.
No, I follow her. She's a good follow still. Yeah. Looks good for her age, but
Tommy Dreamer, Rachel Ellering, come up with the Road Warrior.
Yep, Road Warrior inspired.
Yeah.
One with the Doomsday device. I like that whole motif.
I did. I like that. I would say it's interesting though, because besides Deonna Purrazzo, one other person I thought who's done great in Impact, really reinvented himself, was Brian Myers. And I know that story will continue, but this was not going to be the showcase of Brian Myers. This was more about the story of Sam Beal continuing to mess things up, it looks like, for Brian Myers, and not be able to get him the right tag team partner.
And at the very least, you're getting to see some personality out of Brian Myers. We're getting good in-ring matches. You're getting that good personality. He's done good in Impact. Same with Rachel Ellering. I think she's really starting to gain a name for herself, and this could be that first spot for her to pop off and get that bigger stage.
Absolutely. I mean, I think she had one match maybe in AEW Dark, and she was obviously in the Mae Young Classic there for a while, but she hasn't had a chance to really showcase herself on a promotion, and I think Impact has given her that platform, and I think it's good for her. I don't know. I'm excited with what we've seen Rachel Ellering so far. I think she's definitely got time to get better, and that's the great thing about Impact and some of these other promotions.
Yeah, I would have liked to see her stay in that tag team she started with, but working with Tommy Dreamer is just as good. Following this, we got a Violent by Design promo. Good enough. I mean, it didn't really do a ton for me, but I don't know if it's just because I knew this was like an Impact Plus event that I wasn't as excited as I would be for a full-blown pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was just tired when watching it, but like certain things didn't hit for me. This did nothing, and I like Violent by Design.
See, I like them too, but honestly now, with Jay White showing up, with the Good Brothers, Omega, and some more New Japan talent being there, and then stuff, different promotions, I feel like they're starting to lose steam. Like they're kind of starting to get lost a little bit for me. I'm not saying like I'm completely down on them yet, but like we need to see them involved in something and see the next. I'm done with the Willie Mack, former world champion, Rich Swann. Yeah, I'm done with this feud. So I don't know. I don't know what's next. I want to see different things for Swann and Millie Mack too. I just, let's move in different directions.
See, I think when your promo is like all about how Diener is going to get it for you, then maybe that's what lost it. Like, I'm like, fuck this guy. But following this promo, we got the decay of Rosemary and Crazy Steve versus Falaba and Tasha Steelz. And following a theme where the entrances are kind of fun. They kind of match up with each other. I like this match. This was, I would say, maybe the first match that honestly got me into it. Like Cardona and Chelsea Green I was into, but I also expected them to win. So it wasn't like I was like like sitting there focused. But this was the one that I was like, okay, I think you got me in here for it.
Yeah, so Falaba, I don't know, man. I just don't take the guy seriously, but he's funny at times. To
He's got
me,
good spots. His team
yeah,
with TJP has been all right.
yeah. I'm a big fan of Rosemary in particular. I love Decay. I'm glad. To me, I knew they were going over here. This was another one where I didn't really, it wasn't really in doubt to me.
Yeah, a lot of
But
these first round matches, it seemed obvious. And this one was 9-14. So that was the second longest match of the show so far.
yeah, yeah.
Cardona and Green had the longest one with
There
George
was a great
Grace.
spot in there where Falaba kind of pushed Rosemary down and Weirdo, and he made that little like face like Rosemary does, and then Rosemary did it, and he gets scared and
Yeah.
runs away. So I mean, there's some fun. This was a fun match at times. I'll give it that. But
This also featured the biter face off chant, which kept up for a while during this, which I was like, all right, if that's what you guys want.
that's what they want at Sky Studio, baby.
Following this was the last match of the first round. So following this was the Steve Macklin promo.
Yep.
Once again, kind of forgettable for me because I was like, oh, what's this guy doing here?
Mm.
But next up was the first singles match of the show. Willie Mack, brought to the ring by Rich Swann, versus Diener, brought to the ring by Violent by Design. This match went 9 minutes, 42 seconds. And what do you got to say about it besides the sad choice and a winner?
Yeah, I was gonna say that was the surprise of the night. Cody Diener got the win. He almost never wins, and I guess they felt like they had to get him to. He's usually the fall guy for Design, right?
Yeah.
And I think we all wondered, like, at some point, are they just going to kick him out of this group because he's not getting it done? But
I mean, we were
not.
all hoping.
Yeah, apparently not. Yeah, so they put him over Willie Mack, and Willie Mack is a guy who's been booked strong by that company for the most part. So I'm a little surprised. This only made me wonder if Willie Mack's contract was up. Like, why did we?
Yeah, this surprised me. I was like, wow, you want to make a Willie Mack match boring, put Diener in it. Like, Willie Mack is excellent in the ring.
Yeah.
But something about this match, I'm like, ooh. It almost felt like a break. Like, let me go get something to drink out of the kitchen while this is on.
Yeah, I that's how I felt. And then I thought, okay, this match isn't really for me. And, but not only was it not for me, I felt like the wrong guy won too. Like, wait, what? Like that was a surprise in it. Yeah, which wasn't a good surprise. But, and again, it's his personal taste. I'm not really into Diener. Like you said, too. He doesn't really do it for me. I think his faces are kind of silly. I'm not buying the gimmick, and I'm just not interested in it. Whereas Willie Mack, to me, has always been a good promo. He's great in the ring, and I just like to see this guy doing something else.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, we haven't kept up with Impact as much, so maybe this would have meant more to a week-to-week watcher.
Joe Doring in this match would have meant more to me. Willie Mack versus Joe Doring would have been more interesting to me.
Versus anybody else. Diener, we talk about it all the time, how he's just the worst member of the group. The faces are weird. Like, I feel like he had more of something when he was paired with Cousin Jake for like the last year or so. And when they split that team up, Jake something looks like a star every time you see him in the ring.
Yes.
Big badass. And this dude is just floundering in this group. And
they got the wrong guy. We got the wrong cousin.
To me, it almost brings down the group a little bit. But I mean, it is what it is. Following this match, Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green backstage, which the match following this surprised me very much because, like you said earlier, the next match is Deonna Purrazzo and Matthew Raywalt versus Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green. The match went 9 minutes, 34 seconds, and I have a note written down that said this would have made a great final. This is where I thought the tournament would have gone, but I also didn't pay attention to where the brackets were broken down. So this is the semifinal, and I thought it was a good match. I personally thought it was over when Deonna Purrazzo locked onto Cardona's arm. And I thought, how interesting of a story would that be coming out of this match? But it wasn't to be.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that more promotions, I don't know. I mean, obviously you don't want to affect your storylines, but man, let's pay attention to the temperature in the room. Cardona's a hot commodity right now in the wrestling biz. All right. He's got some buzz coming off of his appearance with GCW. GCW's got some buzz. Nick Gage was just on AEW. People that follow Impact know that stuff. Anyone who might have tuned into this event, let's take advantage of that. Let's have a little fun and let's spot this guy a little more. I mean, they gave him the victory. They had a competitive match, and Cardona and Green, who are a real life couple and have had some wins, which they even put over in their interview before this, that they were the couple that were undefeated going into this, which was a nice little twist going into this match because it made you wonder, like, okay, are they going to lose? Which they ended up, which I could have saw this again. This is the match I could have saw going either way. So once Virtuoso and the Drama King win this match, to me it was apparent they were going to win the whole thing. So I guess that's the other thing of the booking, right? That's how I felt anyway. I didn't think it was going to be Decay. I didn't think it was going to be any other team. I thought these were the two teams. Whoever won this was going to be the winner.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was a great match because of that. But to me, after this, I kind of knew what direction we were going in.
Same here. I thought Cardona and Green were going to win it. But then once it was done, I'm like, oh, so this whole pay-per-view is built around debuting Matthew Raywalt.
Yes.
And it almost seems like, in turn, pairing him with Deonna Purrazzo to give you these personalities going forward. So that makes Impact interesting this coming Thursday. But of all the things that Impact has that's interesting, this is what, third, fourth on the list? You got Jay White there. You still have Kenny Omega bouncing around. Sure. There's more New Japan involvement. So
wouldn't it be more interesting right now? Cardona, the GCW heavyweight champion, coming off that buzz. If Impact actually pushed that a little bit, and we had the GCW champion going after Kenny Omega for the Impact World title, and it's Kenny Omega. Which, don't get me wrong, there's a battle royal coming up, I guess, on one of these episodes, and the winner of that battle royal is supposed to get a shot at Omega. Maybe I just talked myself into something I want to see, but I'd kind of be cool to see Cardona versus Omega right now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're working their way there. You would like to hope so, because especially with the heat and the notoriety that Cardona got off of that win, you would think they'd be able to do something with it. But after this match, Missy Hyatt was interviewed backstage. Brian Myers comes in. Sam Beal comes in. We get the Missy hitting Sam in the head with a purse spot. I thought this was good. It brought together the Missy storyline, and this combined with the match overall, I would say, is a decent presentation on the night.
It was a good kind of corny. It was a little corny, but it was a good kind of corny. Like, you kind of laugh, like, all right.
Yeah, you got to have that sports entertainment in there. I liked Brian's mood coming into this, annoyed, like, what are we doing here? And I thought this segment played out well, but the next match was... Let me check my notes here. That is the next semifinal match. That's Rosemary and Crazy Steve versus Tommy Dreamer and Rachel Ellering. Not a bad match. It went 10:59. So, just about the longest match of this tournament is like the matches are progressively getting better as they go up. I didn't see Rosemary and Crazy Steve winning, honestly. I thought with the Road Warrior face paint, you might advance them.
Sure, I could see that, where it's like kind of like, because I was kind of leaning towards them too. I wasn't surprised.
Because once Cardona and Green are out of it, it's like, all right, who's gonna win, who's gonna lose at this point?
See, I think Decay was kind of the favorites in my mind still going into this, but I thought that given the nature that we already gave Dreamer and Rachel Ellering the victory, and I thought it could be the feel-good story. Well, Tommy will make it down to the finals with Rachel Ellering. We'll see how they get close. But they didn't go in that direction either. I thought, they made Dreamer and Ellering look strong enough. But at the end of the day, now we got Decay, who's a real team, so you have that against, like we said before, the Virtuoso and Drama King. And I just thought that, again, at this point, I already knew where this pay-per-view was headed, or this show was headed.
Yep. Next up, we got Eddie Edwards backstage, hyping up that match. Mm-hmm. Once again, not a main event I'm terribly excited for. It felt like maybe that was another problem I had with the show, where it felt like the homecoming was the centerpiece of this.
Right.
Then you're making this main event between Eddie Edwards, a guy I like to see in the ring, and W. Morrissey, who he's there. I mean, they're experimenting with the push. They're doing what they can, but just it is what it is.
I didn't think Edwards was going to win going into this until I saw the homecoming finals, and I realized that the heels had won. And I thought, oh, they might let Eddie win because they've been pushing Morrissey so hard. But that's another thing I don't like about Morrissey too is that name. But yeah, I got to say that.
Well, what did this promo do for the?
Yeah, I'm jumping ahead. Yeah, no, I didn't give a shit. I was still disappointed in this. But anyway, let's go in order. Go ahead.
Now, since we got the semifinals over with, the next match, Josh Alexander versus Black Taurus for the X Division title. Longest match of the show, 16:08 at this point. All times are provided by cagematch.net. Wrestling database, awesome place for news, results, anything you need. But I like this match, even though I wasn't, once again, terribly excited for it. This perked me up a little bit because Josh Alexander has been doing excellent things with that X Division title. Black Taurus, and it had also the effect of being the second singles match we've seen on the night. So that switched it up a bit.
That was nice. Again, I think a theme I feel like I'm having here with this show, though, with the booking. Again, another match where I didn't really see the outcome was in danger. I haven't seen Taurus. He's entertaining, but I didn't see him booked in a way they were going to put the title on him. So again, I just didn't feel. Now, you don't need to feel that in every show. Not every match is going to be like that. But I felt like that was one thing with this show. There was maybe 2 matches where I felt I wasn't sure about the outcome. Every other match, I felt like, okay, I know who's going to win this. I know who's going to win this. I felt like
do you think
more of that.
A product of that being set up that way, or do we watch too much wrestling? Do we talk too much wrestling? Do we think too much wrestling where we're just looking at it and we're like, all right, that guy, that guy, that guy. Because that's what I was wondering. I wanted to know why I wasn't so excited for this event going in, or why certain matches didn't pop me more than others.
A little bit of both, probably. But I mean, not to put over AEW so strong, but I watched that show last week, and they had that Hangman Page Dark Order versus the Elite. Like, part of me told me that the Elite was going to win that, because I was like, they're not going to put the Dark Order over fucking the Elite. But then I'm like, but Hangman needs to get this title shot. So because Hangman had been so strong and everything, I didn't know who was going to win. And I was like,
there's also a lot more excitement in AEW right now. All things AEW, it seems like every week is big. And
yeah, it's the hot. I mean, I've said in the past where I try not to be the big mark for those guys, but right now, I just think you're kidding yourself if you don't think that's the hottest show right now. And you might disagree, and you're entitled to your opinion, but I'm going to say more people than not that are hardcore wrestling fans, that's the show. If you're giving it an honest, fair look, and I feel like I'm very good at that, that's the hot show right now.
Yeah, even if you're not a fan of the wrestling, you're not a fan of the people that put on the show, what AEW has behind it for buzz coming, I'd like to say coming out of this COVID time, but it almost feels like we're about to be half back in it now. Yeah. There's a lot of exciting things happening for the next 6 months that hopefully will roll out the way they should.
And just a sidebar here real quick too, we're talking about hot shows and stuff like that. It kills me to say it because I'm a big NXT fan and I like NXT still. But SmackDown's been a better show lately because there's more of a hot crowd and there's some other stuff. And part of it is Pat McAfee is great on commentary. The main event stuff has been built so well. And fucking WWE, not necessarily NXT, but fucking McMahon or whoever, killed the fucking push of the world champion, where you're watching him job out on Raw, and then he comes back here supposed to be this dominant guy. Whereas I'm still excited for TakeOver, but I'm just
talking about Cross.
Yes, thank you. Pronouns, pal. Let's fucking let's get the fucking belt on Samoa Joe already, because I'm just I know I'm going off on a tangent now, but to me it's AEW is so fucking hot.
About the excitement of your product, and that's one thing that we both felt that this was lacking.
Yes.
But after this match, the Matthew Raywalt and Deonna Purrazzo interviewed backstage, and I think that's where the excitement for this show is. The debut of Raywalt and the teaming of Purrazzo. Yes. And the next match is the finals of the homecoming tournament. Deonna Purrazzo and Matthew Raywalt versus Rosemary and Crazy Steve. Match went 11 minutes, 15 seconds. And I'd have to say easily the best match on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a great showcase too.
And they really ramped it up. It was interesting to see how each round of this tournament, the matches got a little bit better each way. And I don't know if it was to build to something like this.
I'm curious to see if they'll continue using these two together and keep the crown gimmicks and stuff like that. I know maybe it's a little similar to like a King of the Ring, if you will, but I personally think it kind of fits these two.
Yeah, it's a good way to debut them. I mean, even if you didn't keep the crowns, if you keep that attitude, you keep the pairing. I think the pairing is strong, and that is probably the most excitement to me coming out of this.
What if you put the X Division title on him at some point? I mean, Josh Alexander deserves it, but Josh could always go on and Josh could feud with Kenny or somebody at some point. I'm just saying, like, so, but that would let put a little more gold on this team too. You could have something there.
I would be down with it, just depending on how that story progresses going forward. We'll have to see how Impact is this week coming out of it. Now, following this match, we had Striker and D'Lo backstage. There was a video package hyping Eddie Edwards and W. Morrissey. And last match of the night, W. Morrissey versus Eddie Edwards. This thing went 18 minutes, 34 seconds. What do you got to say about it? I don't have a whole lot to say, but it's also probably my lack of excitement on the show.
I will say one nice thing about this. I'm glad Eddie Edwards won. Unlike the match earlier with Dina and Mac, where I wasn't looking forward to, and I thought the wrong guy won. This match I wasn't looking forward to, and I thought the right guy won. Edwards comes out strong, and I think at the end of the day, Morrissey, he's got the look, and you could argue more potential, but he's just not hot right now. He's not connecting, and I think Edwards is, he's your guy. And again, I'd throw a couple names out here. I thought Josh Alexander, I talked Gona. We got the Battle Royal coming up for Impact. Edwards is one of those Impact guys, right? He's one of those mainstay Impact guys.
He's been holding down the main event for a little while for him.
It makes a lot of sense for him to take on Kenny Omega, and those guys could have a great match together, I'm sure, too.
Yeah, both having roots in Japan. Now that we've covered the whole show, we want to make it clear that this isn't a session to shit on Impact. This isn't taking time to downplay them. We watch the show because Impact as a brand has been getting our attention. Maybe not week to week, but we catch those big shows. And I just noticed a lack of heat on this show, a lack of, kind of a sense of purpose outside of the Raywalt debut and Purrazzo.
Yeah, they set up a couple of nice things possibly going forward. So there's some good out of this too. I would say maybe we set something up with Edwards, possibly, a world title situation. We'll see. And, maybe something with the King and the Queen here. Yep. Like I said, with
Macklin and Petey Williams going forward.
Yes. So there's some stuff that they set up possibly that could be fun out of this. It wasn't, you could have missed this event. Sorry, it is what it is. But, it possibly set some fun stuff ahead if you're a diehard Impact fan. There's some good stuff here. But at the end of the day, it was a missable pay-per-view or missable show. But it didn't make me I'm still interested in Impact and what they're doing in the future. And again, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan overall still, people, because you still got all this cooperation going with all these different companies. So.
Yep. And I'll give them a positive. The way they display their crowd, it's not a huge crowd, right, but like WWE, they make it work. And that's the one negative I think of ROH is they have that same small crowd, but they're spread out so much that it doesn't look as good on camera. With Impact, they're not super close to the ring. There's not a ton of people, but they fill the screen. It looks good. And I'll watch the next Impact pay-per-view that comes up. So guys, check us out again next week because your boys, we're going to be hitting the road. NEW WrestleFest. We're going to be there.
We're going to be there, baby. We're going to be
like
there.
Like it or not, we're going to be all up in you, Poughkeepsie, and we'll talk to you later.
Get some